Greetings all. So in this sequence, it's going to be a 6-pose yin sequence. Yin poses are just held for a little bit longer, and you get a little bit deeper stretch that you wouldn't normally get in a vinyasa flow class. But some of these poses should definitely be sort of familiar to you if you practice for any amount. So we're going to start off in cow face, and there's a few ways to get into cow face. And I'm just going to kind of pop into it. So you're going to want to bring, so sitting cross-legged, you're going to bring your left foot to your right glute, and then you're just going to want to stack one knee on top of each other. Now, if it's kind of hard to get into it, another way that you can do this is kind of from all fours. Just bring your right foot over into the outside of your left knee, and then you can kind of sit back. So stacking one knee on top of the other as best you can. Don't worry if it doesn't stack perfectly. It just depends on kind of where you are in class. And we're going to hold this for about 1 minute on each side. Like I said, for yin classes, it's a little more meditative, a little more breath work, and just trying to get into some of those tight areas that might normally just be kind of gone through more quickly in a normal vinyasa class. So it's always great in yin classes to focus on your prana, focus on your breathing. So I might talk a little bit less. Well, I'm going to try to. My students always marvel whenever I can be quiet. So settling in, shoulders away from your ears, sitting up nice and straight. Hopefully feeling this in your right kind of IT band. So to come out, there's a neat little trick that I like to try to do. If this doesn't work, don't worry, I'll show you how to do it otherwise. So you can just kind of lift up and twist around, and then hopefully, if you did that correctly, your left knee should be now stacked on top of your right, and we're going to be here for about another minute. Shoulders back and down, relaxed, sitting up nice and straight, and then as best you can, left knee stacked on top of your right. For cow face on the other side. And then trying to breathe in. If you find any of those kind of tight areas in while you're breathing, try to use your breath to kind of push into that tightness. Stretch it out a little bit. Hopefully it feels good. So then, coming out of it, you can just sort of relax one foot out in front of the other. It's for a little counter pose. Maybe tap out your legs, sitting up nice and straight for a seated staff. And then if you have a block handy, grab a block. And we're going to come into the next yin pose, which is a supported bridge pose. So in practice, you may have done a bridge pose before. In supported bridge, you have some options, right? Different levels of your block. So if you just need a little bit of help in your bridge here and you don't want to go too high, you can leave it on the low setting. There's a medium setting and there's a high setting. And we're going to be about 3 minutes on this high setting. Well, I'm going to be there. And then, wherever you feel nice and comfy in your supported bridge, be mindful of where your toes are pointed and how your knees are. So if you can kind of bring your knees gently in together, not to touch necessarily, but just kind of keeping it all in a line. And we'll be here for about 3 minutes in our supported bridge pose. Once again, checking in with your breath, seeing if you're holding any tension in places that you don't want tension to be. Then just actively using your breath to get into those tight spots. And don't mind if your mind wanders a bit. Just try to gently remind yourself where you are, what you're working on. This is mat time. Breathe. Checking in to make sure you don't feel any weird pressure anywhere. So even if you need to push out of it and wiggle, I wiggle a lot. I talk about wiggling a lot. But your block needs to be about on your belt line. And if it doesn't feel good where it's at, try to just readjust it. Like I said, in Yin, you're going to be in these poses for a little bit longer. So you want them to be as comfy as possible. Just a few more breaths here. So to come out of a supported bridge pose, just push into your feet. Come up off of your block. Set it off for the side. We're not going to use it for anything else. Bring your knees into your chest here for a nice counter. Maybe roll up and down, left and right. Kind of use your knees as a joystick, this kind of thing. Just kind of let them roam, giving a nice gentle back massage as we counter the bridge pose that we just did. So, next thing we're going to do is one of my all-time favorite poses, and it's frog pose. And it looks a little awkward, and it is, but that's fine. You're practicing on your mat. It's your time. So, first thing you need to do is come into tabletop for your frog pose, and then you're just going to spread your knees out to the side, keeping your legs at 90 degrees, feet pointed out, and then just seeing how far down you can come. You might stay up on your hands here. That gets a little hard for my wrists. But you're trying to feel a nice deep stretch into the inner thigh, kind of where your femur and your hip meet. Hands are flat on your mat. And then as you move through this pose, or as you stay in this pose, I guess not moving through it, you might readjust a little bit. You might add a bit of movement, kind of front and back. And we're going to be in this pose for about 3 minutes. You also want to, if you want to work on your twerk muscles, which I know I've set that as a priority during my quarantine, you can kind of add some butt movement here that kind of works on your alignment as well as your twerk muscles. I don't know what else to call them besides twerk muscles. But if you kind of arch your back and move your tailbone up and down, I think you'll kind of understand what I mean by twerk muscles. So you can kind of fool around with that motion, just to feel it in a slightly different area of your back if need be. A couple more minutes here. Just letting everything kind of melt down on your mat. In our frog's pose. Lots of thoughts, apprehensions can come up in this pose, and just feel it. It's fine. Play around with your toric muscles. Maybe one more minute, using our breath to breathe into your hips. I know that sounds weird, but it's a thing. So this is an easy one to do that's hard to get out of. So in order to get out, you're just going to come into both hands, and then as gently as you like, slowly bring those knees in. Have them to touch. We're going to counter in a close-kneed child's pose. So even in this one, I'm going to get you to bring your hands back behind you in this child's pose. Head to the mat. And then just kind of flop here for a few breaths to counter. Inhale, coming up to our fourth pose, which is shoelace, and we're going to do a reclined shoelace. So it's similar to the cow face pose that we did. So you're just going to cross your right knee over your left, and then grab the outside edge of both of your feet, and then just gently bring those down in towards you. So just a gentle pull, and then you can push back with your feet into your hands for a nice sensation. We're going to be here for about 2-3 minutes on each side. Keeping up with that same wonderful, gentle rhythm of breath. Feeling this in my glutes a little bit. You might too. And be gentle with pulling in your ankles here as well. You don't want to pull too hard and injure yourself. Just something that feels nice and soft in your body, but also a strong stretch on the outside of our hips. One more big inhale. Exhale, gently release. Cross your left knee over your right, and then coming up to grab both of your feet again. Being gentle with your back and your legs and your feet, just being gentle with yourself. You know, yin, like I said, yin is a gentle practice, but you can still build a lot of fire with a lot of extended yin poses. So just because it's slowed down or you're not huffing and puffing and sweating, just know yin poses are amazing. They're great for you. Be here for another minute and a half or so. One more big inhale and exhale. And on the exhale, release. Coming into, just windshield wiper. Your legs back and forth. So knees are up, feet are planted. And then just a nice few windshield wipers here to counter our shoelace pose. Sometimes I get stuck doing windshield wiper. I'm like, wow, how long have I been flopping my knees back and forth? Then I realize it doesn't matter. This is my time for me. And I keep flopping. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is a nice supine twist that you can do both ways. So inhale, bring right knee in first. Ankle is out at 90 degrees. And then just exhale that right knee over your left. Shoulders are nice and flat. You can bring your left hand down to help with the twist a little bit. And then maybe close your eyes and look back to your right. And we're going to be here for about 3 minutes on each side. Gently accepting and acknowledging the thoughts that come to mind. And just letting them go on our mats as we breathe into the space that we've created. It can be a little tough to breathe in a twist, but trying to get that full expansion on the inhale through our belly and our chest, and then that full exhale through our nose, deepening into the twist. We'll take about 3 more of those breaths here. Inhale, right knee comes up. Exhale, right foot meets your left foot, extension. Inhale, left knee into your armpit. Maybe scoot over to your left a bit, and then exhaling that knee over to your right, using your right hand if you'd like for a little bit of help getting it down if you'd need, and then maybe closing your eyes and looking back to your left here. And we'll take a few minutes here to balance things on the other way. And bringing our focus back to our breath, those long, big belly breaths, all the way in, and equally long exhales. Just letting everything go on an exhale. Let it flow out onto your mat. Checking in to see if you're holding any tension through your body. Just letting that go. Feeling good, feeling melty. Yin always makes me feel good and melty. Take about 3 more breaths here. on your next inhale. Bring that right knee up. With this, instead of letting it relax, bring both knees in, coming into a happy baby. So grabbing on the inside of your heel, or inside of your foot here, and then trying to bring your knees down into your under your armpits, your under armpits, as opposed to your over armpits. And then just take a few, rocks back and forth, whatever feels good. And then take a few rocks up and down your spine, coming into our last Yin pose here, or Yin pose here. That is Malasana, yogi squat. So some people have problems putting their feet all the way flat. Don't worry if you're one of those people. And if this is as far as you can go, that's fine, and you're just working on getting your feet down. And if you can get your feet down, you're doing great there as well. And then hands come to heart center. And then you're going to actively push into your palms and push against the inside of your knees. We'll be here for about 2 more minutes. Trying to find some stillness here. Feeling the belly rise and fall for just 4 more breaths. Back is nice and straight. Crown of the head is reaching up. Just a lightness there. And in any of these poses, you can always just pause the video and stay in it for as long as you want. I'm going to bring one more inhale in. And then open mouth exhale. Coming onto your bum for the last little balance. Counter pose, not balance pose. So coming into a seated staff. Nice straight spine. Big inhale. Exhale. Arms come forward. And that is our hopefully useful to you Yin sequence. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. Namaste.